Alright, everybody, Mr. Wayne here. We just got back from work. We wanted to make this video really quick to give you an update on where we are at with everything. Thinking about it, I haven't done a vlog since before the Master Key System. We did the Master Key System, we finished it. It's been like 2 months already, and today I met a man who really prompted me because I've been focused on other things. I'm focused on real estate, I'm focused on getting myself positioned to be able to do what I want to do with New Thought because I have to fund it. I don't want an investor, I don't want somebody on the outside having a say in where this is going to go, because I see the spirit of New Thought and I am going to steer it in the direction that's proper for the betterment of people, the betterment of mankind, because that's what we need. That's what we need. We need something that makes us better as people. And back to this man that I met earlier, we were talking about our job, or what our job is, because we were talking about the spirit, we were talking about the mind, we were talking about the power of God, we were talking about Christ, we were talking about our ability as humans to do legitimately anything. Right? We live in these bodies, we have this mind, right? And this mind is under the control of consciousness, our real self, our I am self, the spirit of which gives life to the mind and the body. Now, the body, having intelligence within itself, also operates on all planes of motion. We could move freely. On top of that, we have a brain. This brain is neuroplastic. Our cells are neuroplastic, meaning that they have the ability to change. And our brain changes in accordance to what we're feeding it the most. And this feeding is not, and this food for the mind, for the brain, is not just external influence that we receive, but it's the legitimate, what we're imaging in the mind, or what we're thinking about most of the time, what we're visualizing most of the time. The brain doesn't know the difference between what is being imagined, imaged within consciousness, from consciousness, and from what it's receiving from the external world. We were talking about this, and we were talking about how, like I said, when it comes to the evolution of man, there's no limit to the growth of man. And the spirit of man is divinely ordained to grow and be one with the Father, the universal mind, which is exactly what Christ came to give us. And he was telling me that my only job is to plant the seed. My only job is to speak about it, talk about it, give the information out. Now, the rest, leave it to God, right? God is the one who will water it. God is the one who will give the sunlight. God is the one who will provide everything necessary for that seed to grow. And I don't need to know everything. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to make things happen. That's God's job. That's the universe's job. And my job, like we were saying, my job is only to plant the seed and to make the information known. And that prompted me tonight to get back in front of this camera and just continue recording my journey, continue where I left off. Now, my job for me too is to plant my own seeds within the garden of my own subconscious so I could create the life that I desire to live. Because once you understand the power you have as a conscious spiritual being and your ability to create the mental pictures necessary to bring about the thing you desire to manifest, and holding that image in your mind through the power of your will, holding it there steadily for a lengthy period of time. Because again, what's going to happen? Two things are going to happen. Your brain is going to change into the image of that which you are visualizing, of that which you are imaging. And the next thing that's going to happen is, because thought itself is a vibration, these mental pictures are not just in our head alone. They're vibrating out of us. They're going into the universal mind, this infinite intelligence of which all of us live and move and have our being in. Right? Science today calls it the quantum field. Jesus the Christ called it the living God, right? The Father, right? The parent mind, right? New Thought calls it. New Thought calls it a lot of things. Regardless of what it is, it's the source of which all of us had come from. And the source is, we're not only creating the image of that source, but we are also the sources within us, right? It is inside of us. And we're, by law, by nature, we are already attached to the mind of God. It is only through our understanding of the mind of God and the understanding of who we are as humans in our ability to create that we really take possession of that power, right? And to be able to make use of it conscientiously. Because what else are we going to do? What else are we going to do? Are you going to live your life settling and living like everybody else, doing the same thing as everybody else, complaining about their situation without ever making the decision to do about it? Is that going to be your life? Are you going to spend the rest of your life, if you're lucky, finding what you want to do and being happy with it and it providing everything that you want? But that's not the majority of people. It may be you, but it may not be. Chances are very highly likely that that's not you if you're watching this. So what are you going to do? Are you going to spend the rest of your life there? Or are you going to make the decision, get as crystal clear about what it is that you want and continue to take action towards it on a daily basis? Right now we went through the whole Master Key system 4 or 5 days out of the week. Along with our physical training, we did our mental training. And ultimately, the Master Key system, it teaches this power. It teaches this exact structure of how you can use your own consciousness to create the life that you want. But you need to create the picture in your mind first. Again, as we talked about how the brain is going to change, you and your behavior will naturally change into the image of that which you were thinking about most of the time, because it becomes a habit. It just becomes a part of who you are, and you become it. Like we could literally do anything. Like when you hear successful people say you can do anything, they're right. They're right about it. And we have the science that shows that they are right about it, that you could literally change yourself to be what you want to be who you want to be, to create a new behavioral pattern, right? We're not stuck. We're not barred down by anything. I don't care what the doctor told you about. You hear stories all the time, people who box, they get in an accident. The doctor tells them they're never going to box again. And then they say, no, doctor, you're wrong. I am going to box again. And they go out and they do it. Or people who become disabled in such a way, and the doctors tell them they're never going to walk again, and they ended up walking. Right? I met a man not that long ago. It was probably about 4 or 5 days ago now. And he was telling me he was in an accident, and parts of his brain was damaged, and he couldn't talk, he couldn't do math. There were a lot of things that he couldn't do, and the doctor told him that he wasn't going to do it. And he told me, this is what he told the doctor. He said, no, doctor, you're wrong. He said, I am going to do these things. And today, he was telling me, today he does math. He speaks fluently. He does everything that, he's still working on a few things, but he's doing things that the doctor told him that he wasn't going to do. So for you, if you had a doctor telling you that you can't do something, don't listen to the fucking doctor. Don't listen to that. You can do anything. People recover from anything. People change from anything. It starts with a decision. There is no limit to what the brain is going to refashion itself as. There is no limit. That's what the brain does. It's moldable. It's malleable. It's always going to be that way. Now, of course, you have to take care of yourself in order to keep your brain as moldable as possible. This is both physical health and brain health. But for the most part, there's no, you can change. You can. And as for us, especially with real estate, man, I'm very excited. I got a message. To me, it was a message from God. Last week, I was laying on my couch I was studying my real estate course. And I was messing with the S Pen that comes with the phone. I was learning how the S Pen works. Now, I pulled up the camera from the S Pen and I took about 20 pictures of my foot, which I thought was very funny. It was very funny at the moment. And through the new update of the phone and these new AI features, I wanted to find out how these features worked. Right? And I wanted to see what AI was going to do with my foot. But in that picture, I had my studio, right? My cardboard box in the background. It's still incomplete, but you know what? We put New Thought to the side because, like I said, the most pressing need that I've realized is for me to make money. I need to make money. I don't care about making money through New Thought. It's not the point of New Thought. The point of New Thought is to get the message across of your power as a human. And plus, we have needs and demands that need to be met, and real estate is going to do that for me. But back to this picture. When I was doing my course, took the picture of my foot, pulled up the AI feature, and the AI ended up taking the box, the background, and it created a bunch of boxes stacked up on top of each other with the box on top opened. Now I looked at that and the first thing I seen was moving. Right, I'm going to be moving. A few days later, my niece comes down into my room. Now, my first name is Corey. I go by Wayne. Wayne's the name I share with my father. I absolutely love my father. I wouldn't be who I am today without him. Now, due to, the demands of life, he couldn't always be there emotionally, intellectually, but none of that matters, right? Because aside from that, we have the choice of who we're going to be. But he was always there for me instrumentally, right? He always made sure that I had food. He always made sure that I had a place to sleep. He never denied me that, and I respect him for that. And I'm very grateful for that. And I would do anything for that man. And my goal is to help him get out of, to live his dream, because he put his entire life aside to make sure that his kids, were okay. Now, how honorable of a thing to do. And it took me years to understand that this is who he is. But aside from that, my niece, she came down and she said, "Uncle Corey, I made you a house." And she has these toys, right? And these toys are those plastic squares, triangles, with magnets at the end, so you could create something out of it and magnetize it. The magnets hold together. And she said, "Uncle Corey, I made you a house." I was like, "You made me a house?" And she said, "Yes, it's a 4-leaf house." Now, first thing I was saying was 4-leaf clover, a lucky house. And inside the house, she actually put a bunch of leaves, right? So there are a ton of leaves inside the house. It was awesome. It was very cool. And she had the door, she made a door, all that. And she took a blanket and she placed the blanket over the house. She said, "This is the bed." And now I'm like talking with her, dream building, right? I was like, "Is it a comfortable bed?" She's like, "It's very comfortable." And I looked at the leaves. I was like, is that nature? Like, are we going to be around nature? Like all that, like dream building. And the whole point is we know certain things happen at specific times and at certain times. And for this AI just to generate a random image of moving boxes, and within that same week, my niece coming in with a house that she made, which she's never done before. And for all that for that image of the boxes to happen in the middle of me studying for my real estate test to get licensed, like that's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. That happened by divine law, by divine order, because I'm moving in this direction. And what that told me is, if I keep going in that direction, this is what's going to happen for me. All right, and that's the goal. That's the goal. Because things are much harder for everybody today than they used to be, especially what's going on with the Federal Reserve. These fake ass dollars that we carry around, the Treasury, how they could print as much money as they want from the banks, and who owes them back? We do, right? We're paying them back through our taxes, and all that bullshit. It's just all freaking bullshit, and it's got to change. It has to change, and we have to change it. And we can change it. You and I, we could change it. But in order to change it, we have to change. We have to be and become the person who can. All of us, not just one, everybody. And we can do it together. I'm about to run out of time on this video. I have less than a minute left. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end this right here, because I got more of my studying to get through. We're going to sell houses. We're going to sell a ton of houses. We're going to change a lot of lives, and we're going to help people get into a home and start a family. Because I need to get into a home, and I need to start a family. I want a family. We have to be able to afford that family. I'll see you in the next video.